Jared driving us. Everybody say hi, Jared. Jared says hi, that's how he says it. Also, say hi to each other. We'll be spending a good amount of time to each other. Hi, each other. That's great. But we're not alone, because straight from The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon and That's My Chance starring Jimmy Fallon, you'll never guess. That's right, we do have a few safety rules to go over before we get the tour really underway. First and foremost, if you need guest assistance or have a medical emergency, or if you drop something of value off the side of the tram or have any sound or video issues, reach up to grab the red emergency cord that runs along the center of the ceiling of the tram, and I'll be back to assist you as soon as it's safe to do so. Otherwise, during the entire tour, please remain seated, keeping your arms and legs inside the vehicle at all times. Remember to use the red cord above your head if you need any assistance. The studio is private property, and if at any time during your tour you drop your phone or just can't wait to use the restroom, pull the cord and remain seated. Please no smoking of any kind during the tour, and be prepared. Our tour today features loud noises, sudden tram movements, fire effects, and many water effects. You want to have your cameras out for great photo opportunities, but keep an eye on them so they don't get wet. Finally, for your safety and those around you, please do not use selfies sticks while you're on board. On your right-hand side, you're going to see movie posters representing just a few of the more than 8,000 films that we've made here at Universal. We started in 1914 with Damon and Pythias, which is a black and white and silent film. We've been making movies ever since, most of which now use crazy things like color and sound. Universal is on the forefront of a lot of that innovation. In fact, we practically pioneered the horror genre in 1931 with Dracula, starring Bela Lugosi. We've continued our monster movie legacy even into this year, where Dracula has been played by both Nicolas Cage in Renfield, as well as Computers in Voyage of the Demeter, both very, very fun movies. Whenever this particular area was built, 1915, by our founder Carl Laemmle, he said he wanted to make the strangest city in the world, devoted to making movies. On your right-hand side, this is Fire Station 51, a real-life functioning fire station, and a great example of that city idea. This is a real fire station. We also have a real post office, we have a real sheriff station, we have 4 Starbucks, super important to having a city. The only thing we don't have is residents. Nobody lives here, just movies and TV and inspiration for the future. Our founder, Carl Laemmle, this is what he looks like, waving hello to you. A big part of the specializing as far as movies are concerned is here on your left-hand side. You're going to begin to see a number of sound stages. Sound stages are large buildings that we can build entire worlds inside of. Soundstage 12 here on your left-hand side has been used in a number of very, very significant Universal productions. Frankenstein's Lab, Dracula's Castle, The Roller Rink from Xanadu with Olivia Newton-John, and even Whoville from Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas. If you're wondering what a soundstage looks like before it's all dressed up, it's sort of like this. It's kind of a big empty soundstage, but with certain specialized features. That the insulation on the walls is something we call Instaquilt. It's about 5 to 6 times as thick as the walls at your house. These buildings are 98% soundproof on this side of the lot, and some of our newer ones are even up to 100% soundproof. It allows us to get total control over the environment, as well as get excellent coverage of the sound. A number of television productions have filmed in this area as well, including Bel Air, starring Jabari Banks and Ali Charlatan, which you can see on Peacock. My salty nut. Sugar high, you got me riding on. You know I will eat you all night long. I wanted to taste everything you got. Come on and make my tootsie pop. I wanna bet you Kit Kat. I love that Sour Patch. Ooh. I've got a Butterfinger. I wanna slip to you. I've got chocolate kisses on my good bar. And I am a Johnny Wiltshire that's gone so far. Sugar high, you got me riding on. You know I will eat you all night long. I want it. On your left-hand side, this big brown building is what we call the mill. It's where we do a lot of woodworking and metalworking to construct sets for the insides of the sound stages, like these over here on your right-hand side. When you construct a set, you're only going to build what the camera will see, so you use a lot of wild walls. Wild, because they're mobile. They're not really built to last. I always say we build things for a good time, not a long time here in Hollywood, and that's a part of it. You're only going to build what the camera's going to see. The buildings aren't structurally sound, they're just there to look pretty. Speaking of looking pretty, here on your left-hand side, that's our first celebrity sighting, Ted from the movies, starring Mark Wahlberg, as well as the upcoming prequel series releasing in January, which will also still have Seth MacFarlane. Ted is standing in front of our production bungalows. These are offices for producers, writers, directors, sort of the idea people in Hollywood. Historically, these were what we would call actor bungalows for contract players at Universal. Actors and actresses would sign contracts to appear exclusively in Universal films. They couldn't appear in any other type of film. As a result, we had people like Doris Day, Rock Hudson, later on Lucille Ball had production offices on our studio, and even people like Jordan Peele have operated out of here with Monkey Paw Productions. They are the team behind Get Out, Us, Nope, as well as Candyman, directed by Nia DaCosta. And we've even had Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson here for $7 Productions. They were behind things like Fighting with My Family, Fast and Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw, and even Young Rock. These have changed a lot over the years, but pretty much if you got an idea, man, they will have had an office here over the course of our history. A number of very, very significant actors have made their homes here. I mentioned Lucille Ball. She was the very first woman to ever have a live studio audience built just so that way they could film her TV show. She was a vaudeville performer, so her husband at the time, Desi Arnett, is a Cuban immigrant who was the producer on I Love Lucy. They had an idea. They decided to work together and kind of bring out that vaudeville performance from Lucille Ball. They had the giant studio audience, and it let her engage, and that has changed how we shoot sitcoms. Sitcoms that have shot here using the same format, in fact. Things like Sabrina the Teenage Witch. There have been a number of productions. Lopez and his real-life daughter, Maya Lopez. There are two different sound stages, but they can remove the wall in the middle and make it one gigantic sound stage. This was originally constructed for Hairspray Live, also starring Ariana Grande. You can't stop the beat, you can't stop us from talking about even more, because Jennifer Lopez was also here for World of Dance, and the Will and Grace revival was here as well. Now, right on the front, we have a series of production offices. We call this the business in the front, party in the back sound stages. The party, filming, the business, all of the business of Hollywood that takes place right here on the front side. Now, our front lot, again, is home to a number of sort of the interior production pieces. Whenever we do use a sound stage, I'm going to replay this video so I can were to knock on it. That is what you hear. Any stone that you would see in our large-scale sets, that's probably going to be plywood painted to look like stone. You can see that there is actual production filming here today, so there is some exciting stuff going on the lot. It's a very busy spot. This entire metropolitan area is only about 4 acres wide. So it's curved on both ends. It lets it look like it goes on and on forever in both directions. It's also where they film American Ninja Warrior on NBC and Peacock. This area, what you could do if you're wanting to film a major action stunt sequence like they did in Transformers starring Shia LaBeouf, is build some facades on top of our facades. None of these buildings are real buildings, but for the most part. That just means that they're just the fronts and sides of the buildings. So what they did was build facades on top of our facades and blow those up, so that way they wouldn't have to knock down the structures that were standing. At one point, Michael Bay had wanted to go into Los Angeles and blow up a real city street, but if the studio talked them into this, they thought it would be a little bit safer. If you ever watch Transformers again, they'll look and they will always cut away before the explosion stops, so you don't see one of our buildings still standing behind it. You can send this area flying backward and forward in time. For example, this could become 1940s Brooklyn for Captain America, First Avenger, the scene where Chris Evans first...
So I was thrilled when Universal invited me back to Skull Island. It was great to have you on the ride. Now we have created this 3D immersive experience, so you're going to have your glasses ready. Don't put them on yet, but just have them in your hand because we're about to return to Skull Island.
As we head back to Skull Island, just a quick reminder to please remain seated. Also, be sure to not use your flash on your phones. That might attract the wrong kind of attention. And definitely be sure to hang on to your loved ones. By loved ones, I mean cell phones. Hang on to them, it's important. Ladies and gentlemen, that was King Kong 360 3D. Tom Selleck. Now it has a Volkswagen engine inside the plastic shell of a Ferrari. It's a stunt Ferrari. It's a faux Ferrari. They would just speed up the footage to make it look like it was moving faster, but they wouldn't have to worry about destroying a real Ferrari. Those Back to the Future Part 2 cars, I'm going to spoil it, they never actually flew. They're mostly pulled along on cables. Also, these Flintstones vehicles, the very first hybrid vehicle, they ran on foot power. They don't run unless you do. Also pulled along on cables. Sometimes they would even have a little golf cart engine on the interior. And you might notice something is missing from the gyrosphere from Jurassic World. If you notice what's missing, shout it out. The glass close, the people. I'm kidding. Yes, the glass was added in post-production. It would have been way too reflective from the entire camera crew standing there. Also, this Bradley infantry fighting vehicle from Transformers made out of plywood. Even the barrel of the gun up there is made out of it's PVC pipe. It's just a long pipe painted to look like metal. That allows us to travel with it, transport it much easier, and you can blow it up without worrying so much about blowing up a real tank. That's a whole process. Speaking of vehicles, though, we do have a particularly prehistoric one here on your right-hand side, all the way back from the 90s. Can you imagine it? That's the Jurassic Park 3. That's the one the Spinosaurus attacked. And on your left-hand side is the Mobile Lab, the one that featured in the Lost World Jurassic Park. This is the one the T-Rex pushed off of a cliff. That cliff? Not a real cliff. It's mostly a parking structure covered in mud and plants. They dangled it over the side and oh no! The Dilophosaurus has found us! On your left-hand side, straight from Jurassic Park 3, the Spinosaurus. Spinosaur me? Spinosaur you? No! Spinosaurus. The original T-Rex in Jurassic Park, the one that stomped towards the kids, they were hiding in a Jeep. It froze! It's pouring rain! That T-Rex is made of latex skin covered mechanical insides. They weigh between 13 and 18,000 pounds depending on which animatronics are being used at that exact moment. However, latex absorbed a lot of water from the rain effects, which made the T-Rex way too heavy to function. It started to make this whirring noise like a which scared everybody because the T-Rex didn't make any noise on set. The roar was added in post-production. They ended up having to halt production, build a big umbrella over the T-Rex to keep it dry, and finally, after it did, they could continue with filming. But speaking of umbrellas, we really just need one because we are heading into Old Mexico for a little weather demonstration. Old Mexico's been used in a number of major productions, including Three Amigos starring Chevy Chase, Steve Martin, and Martin Short, Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull starring Harrison Ford. This was Peru, and even Lady Gaga's music video for Judas. Not the only pop star here, Janet Jackson was also here for Escapade. You hear that? Thunder? See that lightning? It takes a whole village to bring weather effects to life. Thunder would also typically be added in post-production, so you wouldn't be competing with the actor's dialogue. It wouldn't ruin that. Lightning would be day of. Typically the lighting department in conjunction with the effects teams are the ones behind anything that wouldn't be happening physically on that day. And rain is also created by the effects team. They used a very specialized system. If I remember the name correctly, I believe it is a sprinkler system. They shoot the water high up into the air, allow it to fall naturally back down to the earth, in a process called filtering. It doesn't show up very well on camera, so you have to light it very careful. Rain is translucent, so they light it incredibly carefully. Uh-oh. I think we're using too much rain. We're in for a flash flood. Watch out. The flash flood was also seen in Big Bad Liar starring Paul Giamatti, Frankie Muniz, and Amanda Bynes. We are moseying on over into our 6 Points Western sets. Our 6 Points was initially named after the 6 different Western streets that moved out from the center of town like spokes of a wagon wheel. Each different street had its own sheriff's station, its own saloon, and they could film film as many as 6 different movies at the same time because they weren't competing with each other for sound. However, the big saloon on your left was built for Wild Bill starring Jeff Bridges, and that messed with the 6 Points idea, but that saloon has been used in big things, like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood starring Brad Pitt, Leonardo DiCaprio, Margot Robbie. That was right here. Also, if you're a horror fan, Maxine, the upcoming sequel to Pearl and X, is shot here as well, so it's a whole film set thing. It's very cool. Notice the tiny doors. Tiny doors are important because sometimes our actors weren't the biggest and burliest people. If we wanted to make them look bigger, burlier, more ready for a fight, you put them in front of these doors. Another example of forced perspective, something we use everywhere. Our tour is now approximately at the halfway mark, so I just want to remind everybody to stay seated during the entire tour. The studio is private property, and if you drop your phone or just can't wait to use the restroom, pull the red cord to get my attention, and I will be back to assist you, but do remain seated on the tram. We would also do the opposite of the small door thing if we wanted it to look like someone was in need of saving to some degree. You'd build a big door and they would look smaller, more in need of help. They used those typically for damsels in distress back in the 1950s, 40s, that kind of thing. These sets have been around for a very long time. Also used in Saving Mr. Banks, this was Australia. On your left-hand side, though, sound stages 30 and 31 are home to NBC's The Voice. The most recent season had Reba as a coach, and right in front of it, the Black Lagoon from The Creature, from the Black Lagoon. There were 2 different actors who played the Gill Man, one for when the creature was under the water. They hired an actor to wear the suit and walk around and look spooky-ooky. That man's name was Ben Chapman. They also hired a professional swimmer to wear the suit, swim around, hold his breath for 4 minutes at a time so they could get all the footage they needed of him swimming. That guy, his name was Riku Browning. Pretty fitting that the creature lives on your left-hand side because on your right-hand side is Little Europe. Little Europe was the birthplace of the monster movie. This was Transylvania for Dracula, starring Bela Lugosi, the Bavarian Alps for Frankenstein, starring Boris Karloff as Frankenstein's monster, and The Bride of Frankenstein, starring Elsa Lanchester as the Bride of Frankenstein. Elsa Lanchester has gone on record as saying that she based her performance as the bride off of an angry swan. She said they were nasty, beautiful, hideous, hateful creatures. So she would be all live, but she hisses a lot. If you ever watch it again, it's very fun. This was even Wales for the Wolfman, starring Lon Chaney Jr. But for a little while, probably a pretty bad place to be with monsters roaming, until it became the good place on NBC. Take a look. This was designed to look like just a general place in Europe. If we put French on the signs, it could become France. If we put German, it becomes Germany. And that's why it was used in Germany in All Quiet on the Western Front, our very first Best Picture winner. It's also been used in more fictional places. Things like Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella with Brandy that was made for ABC. And it was even Port Royal in Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl, starring Johnny Depp from Disney as well. But back whenever Dracula roamed the area, it was the very, very early days of sound film. As a result, we hadn't figured out how to make sound film quite just yet. We hadn't figured out that if you shoot a movie in one language, you could just dub over it, where somebody speaks in a different language over the top, or add subtitles. As a result, they shot a Spanish version of Dracula at night at the same time. This area this morning caught the giant shark, so we have nothing to worry about, not even a little bit. My buddy George is doing a quick trash sweep, just to make sure it's nice and clean for you. But just know this is a totally safe place, and uh-oh, you hear that music? You see that, Finn? We're in for some danger. Oh no, that's my buddy George. George, get out of there. Away, George, swim away, not up and down. Took a lot of guts for him to volunteer for that job, and well, there they are. How about let's hide somewhere a little safer, maybe here behind the flammable gasoline cans? Now we did put some extra bait underneath that yellow barrel out there, so if the shark takes it, we should be okay. He took the bait, and the pier, oh no! Okay, this is very good actually. Sharks don't like fire, so there's no way he's gonna jump up 4 times in a row. Please stay seated. As soon as I say something, it goes lots of murder. I don't know about you guys, but I'd be a chicken if I lived next to so much murder, which is fitting because on your right-hand side is what we call the Chicken Ranch. Originally constructed for the best little whorehouse in Texas, starring Dolly Parton and Burt Reynolds. Later used in Quantum Leap, starring Scott Bakula, the original, as well as the recent reboot starring Raymond Lee, which you can see way back in the back. That 1930s looking tan and black vehicle is what we call a Duesenberg. That was used in the Mummy franchise, starring Academy Award winner Brendan Fraser. And speaking of mummies, we're heading to a little mummy-son duo-owned small family business. Just as Marion... I don't think he heard us. Want to try it again? Hi, Norman! Hi, Norman! Okay, that's weird. Seems like he's in some kind of a fugue state. They give the best service. They would literally carry you to your car. Oh, not like that though. Okay, he hasn't noticed us, so maybe if we're quiet we can sneak away. We'll see. Uh-oh. Oh, we gotta go. We gotta go fast. Crazier, Norman, are you guys holding up a phone to take a photo while he's running at you with a knife? Wild. Mother's house, the top floor is built to 7/8 scale, yet another example of forced perspective, and you might just see her rocking around. I gotta say, we'd all go a little mad sometimes if we had this hanging out in our backyard though. Crash Site set from Steven Spielberg's War of the Worlds, starring Tom Cruise. That is a real 747 airplane on your left-hand side, purchased from an airplane graveyard in the Mojave Desert. Cost $60,000 to buy the plane, which sounds like a steal until you realize it costs $200,000 to ship it. They always get you on the shipping and handling. The roof of the airplane is missing. That is because it had to fit underneath all the freeways. They removed it. But whenever it arrived, there were plans to reattach the roof. Once the production designer Rick Carter and Steven Spielberg saw this, they said, no, leave the roof off. It makes it scarier. What could have removed the roof of an airplane in the middle of the air, right? This airplane crash site set has also been used for music videos like Nicki Minaj and Rihanna's Fly, as well as Fun Times in Babylon, which was Father John Misty. Before they moved the airplane in here though, this was Site B for the Lost World Jurassic Park. This is where the raptors chased everybody through all the tall grass, and it has also been used in several insurance commercials. Reason being, can you imagine having to live in a house like that on your right? Of course you need insurance after the fact. It's been used by Geico, Allstate. They also for a time would train a bunch of search and rescue dogs in this area. They'd hire actors to pretend to be in trouble, give them little cards that would say like, this is what happened to you, and then the dogs would approach, so they would train not only the dogs, but the search and rescue teams in this entire area. The airplane, you can tell that it's been retired. The way that the airplane graveyard works is after a certain number of miles, you aren't able to use an airplane anymore. This airplane is all the way from the 1970s. You can tell because there are ashtrays in all of the seats. So, there it is. I'd say we're having fun times, and it is only going to get more fun because we are headed to a tiny little amusement park, very, very nostalgic, sentimental, that was constructed for Nope, directed by Jordan Peele. We're headed into Jupiter's Claim. Nope is an excellent movie, very, very scarily.
That's what this whole place is loosely based on. Remember that one? No? Live. A little further down, you can see the brand new Star Lasso experience. built to showcase an unbelievable new live show. Well, it's not looking so live anymore. Anyway, behind this Hollywood fantasy, Gold Rush frontier town lies a sinister secret. It is smack dab in the center of the beautiful hotspot. What's a bad miracle? You're about to find out. Welcome to the world of no.
If you've seen the movie, you know you definitely should never look up. Some of you looked up immediately, that you would not have survived the movie. That was kind of an ode to the power of sound design, right? Sound can make us feel a lot of things. They have an entire department known as the Foley department that'll make footsteps sound a certain way. They'll hit big pieces of ham to make it sound like there's a dance party going on in this next room, so I hope y'all brought your dancing shoes. Not just dance in your shoes. Where are my party people at? Can I get a whoop whoop? That's what I like to hear.
Through my veins, can't relax. Original, I am not the same as these cats. I sting them if they never ever mind and they beeswax. I don't ever cap, but I'm wearing like 3 hats. Never been a rat, but I know where the cheese at. You'll never get a trophy cause they all here with me at. You better believe that. When it's all said and done, I'll still be here standing. Never took a loss and it ain't something that I'm planning. I dare you to say something. My focus is A1. Every dog has his day. It's been mine since day one. This is real grinding. I'm still climbing. While you still trying, I'm still shining. It's real blinding. And I'm getting hotter too. Talking top 2, I'm not a 2. You let the pressure bother you and I do what I gotta do. Let's go hard. I just gotta go hard. Coming close to me, flow is on atomic. I'm starting fires through poetry. The heart is out, staying loyal, no falling out. And if you step into the court, be ready, we ballin' out. Yeah, the coldest of teens, they know what we bring, don't try us. Ain't no in between, we go for these dreams in silence. Hard work, don't mistake it for magic. You been shooting in the gym, this is target and practice. Yeah. And I'm just getting started, getting feet wet. It's all a repetition, ain't a secret. All facts, up leg dress code. Pay me my respect, collecting every debt. Oh, the hardest. I break the pain. Not what she used to. It's all part of the game. Yeah, I just gotta go hard.
Broken truck. I need you ready to roll.
Let's go. Just gotta go hard. I go the hardest.
Alrighty, my friends, now might be a good time to throw on those 3D glasses. They double as eye protection. And I don't know if you know this, but the whole Fast and Furious franchise is based on our driver Jared, so we might just make it out on time. Who knows?
Yeah, oh yeah, the beast back. Adrenaline pumping through my veins, can't relax. Original, I am not the same as these cats. I sting them if they never ever mind and they beeswax. I don't ever cap, but I'm wearing like 3 hats. Never been a rat, but I know where the cheese at. You'll never get a trophy cause they all here with me at. You better believe that. When it's all said and done, I'll still be here standing. Never took a loss and it ain't something that I'm planning. I dare you to say something. My focus is A1. Every dog has his day. It's been mine since day one. This is real grinding. I'm still climbing. While you still trying, I'm still shining. It's real blinding. And I'm getting hotter too. Talking top 2, I'm not a 2. You let the pressure bother you and I do what I gotta do. Let's go hard. I just gotta go hard.
show.